Hey there, podcast fans. Are you looking for a new true crime podcast? Check out Gangster House, the new podcast from Imperative Entertainment. Gangster House has everything: hospital hitmen, FBI informants, a prison escape, a van explosion, and so much more. I'm Jason Hoke, creator of Gangster House and producer of podcast megahits Atlanta Monster, Broken Hearts, and Monster, the Zodiac Killer. Listen to Gangster House right now on your favorite podcast player.
It is episode 252. We are bringing to you tonight some discussion on a DC comic. To tell us a little bit about that, the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Radulich is here by my side. Mark Radulich, buddy, we're talking some Teen Titans tonight. Now, we've done that already, but hey, we're going to do it again. This is a new iteration. Mark Radulich, what say you?
Warm it up, Chris. I'm about to. Warm it up, Chris, because that's what I was born to do. Warm it up, Chris. I'm about to. Warm it up, Chris. That's what I was born to do.
I don't know. Look to your left. Look to your right. There are no Chris's here tonight, Mark Radulich.
I was promised an infinite amount of Chris's.
An infinite amount of Chris's?
Yes.
We have Chris Sheehan, Chris Armstrong. Hell, we could have brought in Chris Bailey.
I was promised Chris's on infinite Earths. Where are they?
They all have ran into some issues tonight, so it's just me and you talking some 2000. I know that happens. It happens. That's all right. We sally forth and tally ho.
You know who I miss? I miss Ronnie Adams. And I was thinking, he says I didn't drive him away, but that was back when I thought it would be funny to call him a racist on every show, and then he disappeared, and then he said it wasn't my fault, but I think it was.
Thanks, Mark. Now we're a two-man crew, hoping for a Chris to save us. Yeah, so, like I said, Chris Sheehan unfortunately ran into some technical difficulties tonight, and Chris Armstrong, unfortunately, was unable to join us due to work-related difficulty as well. It's just me and you. We're talking 2003 Geoff Johns.
There'll be no Chris's to warm it up tonight.
They will. No, it's going to remain cold right here on the Source Material podcast. So tonight, we're talking Geoff Johns' 2003 Teen Titans. So Mark, there's a reason we're doing this book, and I want you to kind of explain to our listeners why.
I want you to guess.
Teen Titans Season 2.
You would be correct. See, was that so fucking hard, Jesse?
No, it wasn't. I kind of knew where we were going there.
You know,
I haven't watched any of it yet.
Yeah, it's like you and I need to watch it. You know, you and I are going to be reviewing it this Thursday.
Wow, we've got a lot to cram in such a little time since we're doing this live right now.
I had to create an entire calendar of when I needed to watch things because...
Wow.
Because if I didn't, I was going to lose track of stuff and not be ready for the shows that I booked. So you and I did do Titan Season 1, didn't we?
Yeah. I remember talking, I'm pretty sure I remember talking about how Jason Todd was a dick. I liked Hawk and Dove. Did we have somebody else on there with us, or was it just me and you?
It was just me and you.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway.
So we'll be talking Titans Season 2 this Thursday, December 5th. We're going to warm it up, whether the Chris's are there or not.
It's going to be close to Christmas. So I don't know. We're getting closer. So let's talk about it here. Teen Titans. This is the 2003 Geoff Johns iteration of this book. Geoff Johns we've talked about just recently when we discussed Green Lantern's Darkest Night. That ain't right. What the hell is it called?
Blackest Night.
Blackest Night. Blackest Night.
Yeah.
Darkest Night. Brightest Day, Darkest Night is where I want to
Green Lantern, the Dark Knight.
Wait a second. Something's wrong here. So Blackest Night. So we've talked about Geoff Johns before. We've talked about how prolific a writer he is. A lot of people I saw commenting about this book. This is a very obviously an earlier work. Many people really dig this series. Teen Titans, numbers 1 through 12, written by Geoff Johns, penciled by Mike McKone, and inked by Marlo Alquiza. And I think there's actually a change in the art with issue 7 where Tom Grummett takes over. He's the penciler maybe just for that particular issue. But anyway, Teen Titans number 1 went on sale July 16, 2003, and Teen Titans number 12 went on sale June 9th, 2004. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just real quick, we're going to hop in here and give you some Teen Titans history as written by our good buddy Chris Sheehan over there from the Cosmic Treadmill. So without further ado...
And now it's time to go full treadmill.
Yeah, Chris Sheehan of Chris and Reggie's Cosmic Treadmill brought to us some notes, even though he wasn't able to make it onto the Teen Titans show. So what I thought I would do is do my best to kind of go down through his notes, at least give you a history, according to Chris Sheehan. Maybe do a little treadmill right here on the Source Material Comics podcast. Teen Titans history. Teen Titans first appearance, Brave and the Bold, number 54, which was released between June and July of 1964. The team is made up of Kid Flash, Aqualad, and Robin. Donna Troy joins the team. She is going by the name of Wonder Girl, and it turns out she's not a real character and created by mistake. Ongoing series Teen Titans number 1, February of 1966. This issue apparently doesn't even have the number 1 on the cover. The impact socially at the time, while many people look to the Green Lantern, Green Arrow stories of Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams as the launch of the relevant era in DC Comics, the Teen Titans actually beat them to the punch, though nobody really talks about it. Teen Titans number 25, February of 1970, sees a peace demonstrator assassinated. The story might have been a response to the assassinations of Dr. Martin Luther King and Robert F. Kennedy in the spring and summer of 1968. And Teen Titans were unable to save the demonstrator, a fellow by the name of Dr. Arthur Swenson. And so far, after a tongue lashing from the Justice League, they vowed never to use their powers again. They'd eventually begin working with a weirdo named Lauren Jupiter. Don't know who that is, but Lauren Jupiter, there you go. Spelled Loren Jupiter, just like the planet. The Teen Titans ongoing would be canceled with issue number 43 between January and February of 1973. The title would resume publication as part of the DC Explosion. Number 44 had a November 1976 cover date. The team would be updated for the 70s, even having a headquarters in a discotheque. Their number would grow, and an event on Long Island would necessitate a second team in Titans West. The Teen Titans would be canceled for a second time as part of the DC Implosion, final issue being number 53 in February of 1978. The new Teen Titans, Marv Wolfman, who had written a few issues of the original run, would return to DC as we entered the 1980s. He had an idea to revamp the twice-canceled Titans and was given the opportunity to do so in a bonus book-style insert in DC Comics Presents number 26, cover date October 1980. In this insert, he and George Perez introduced the world to the new Teen Titans and some of the characters we most associate with the franchise nowadays, Raven, Starfire, and Cyborg specifically. You can go back in the archives for the Source Material Comics podcast and check out our discussion on the first 12 issues of that series, along with Chris Sheehan. Who is Donna Troy? Remember, Donna Troy was created out of a continuity error, so her actual origin was always kind of muddy. In New Teen Titans number 38, January of 1984, as a wedding gift to Donna and her soon-to-be husband, the super creep Terry Long, Dick Grayson decides to finally clear up all the ambiguity in Donna's past. And he does, until Crisis on Infinite Earths. During a story called The Judas Contract, Tara Markov, the aka Tara, makes her first appearance in New Teen Titans number 26, cover dated December of 1982. After a rocky introduction, she begins working alongside the Titans, and Beast Boy gets one heck of a crush. It is revealed in New Teen Titans number 34, August of 1983, that she's in cahoots with Deathstroke. A revelation shown to the readers, but not to the team. In New Teen Titans number 39, February of 1984, Tara learns some secret identities, and we can see that all of this information is being transmitted to Deathstroke. With this info, Slade can attack the Titans where they live, and he does. He delivers them all but Dick to the Hive to finally fulfill his son's contract. The Titans manage to eke out a victory. Dick becomes Nightwing, Jericho joins the team, and Tara dies. The trial of Deathstroke. Deathstroke goes on trial and winds up getting sent to a country club jail. Beast Boy kind of lashed out during the trial to affect the outcome. In so doing, he hurt the Titans' credibility. And so, Slade got a relatively easy sentence. This worked for Gar, however. He wanted Slade to be accessible because he's planning to kill him. The good thing is, he doesn't. In fact, they wind up hitting a diner to have a breakfast together in Tales of the Teen Titans number 55, cover dated July of 1985. There, Gar asks Slade if he ever banged Tara. Slade sorta kinda answers. Titans Hunt. New Teen Titans number 71, cover dated November of 1990, celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the new team, in real time anyway. The Titans have themselves a party. Most of them wind up captured by the wildebeest organization. They ultimately learn that one of their own turned on them, because if we're talking Titans, even to current year, when all else fails, throw a traitor into the mix. An overlong event, plagued by delays and interruptions, might read better all in one go, but a real chore if you're doing one at a time. Total chaos. New Titans, Deathstroke, and Team Titans would take part in this 9-chapter epic. Robert Long, the son of Donna and Terry from an alternate timeline, becomes the despotic Lord Chaos. In his future, he was rapidly aged from infancy to adulthood with a bunch of swell-ass powers. He'd kill his mother, Donna, post-birth. Oh, man. After his birth, there was a boom in metahuman births, and so all metas were corralled into concentration camps and fed something called numb dust to become agents of chaos. Some of these metas would rebel, the Team Titans. These Titans become a sort of underground organization. All new characters, too. Even if one of them is named Terra and looks just like the real Terra, they're all new. They decide to travel back to the past to kill Donna Troy before she gives birth, which, it might stand to reason, spare them all the horrible future they live in. But time loops and all that. Turns out, when they come back, Lord Chaos follows, which renders the entire plan moot. Donna winds up giving up her powers in exchange for the Titans of Myth to take Lord Chaos away to teach him humility. 0 Hour. It's revealed here that all of the teamers were actually working for Monarch/Empath, one of the big bads of 0 Hour. All but Terra and Mirage vanish from existence. The Team Titans book gets canned. Though rumor has it, had the book continued, the original 1960s Teen Titans were going to somehow wind up arriving in the present, sorta like Marvel did with all new X-Men a few years ago. New Titans limps on for a couple years till it finally gets the mercy killing it had been begging for about half a decade to this point. Teen Titans Volume 2. Dan Jurgens gets the nod to make a new Teen Titans volume. Only one problem. He's not allowed to actually use any Teen Titans characters. He makes all new characters and finds a spot for the newly teen-aged Atom, another 0 Hour dangler. He winds up backdooring old Titans character Lilith Clay into the book under a hood and the name Omen. This book wasn't great. JLA/Teen Titans, the Technis Imperative. In the late 90s and after Kingdom Come especially, DC Comics was attempting sort of a back-to-basics approach with their line. The Weird Justice League America title was canceled to make room for the more iconic JLA, which was written by Grant Morrison with a more recognizable roster of characters. This would mark the first time post-crisis that the team was truly the big guns. Another franchise in dire need of a more iconic look was the Titans. DC decided to sprinkle some JLA dust on the concept, giving us JLA Titans, the Technis Imperative, and cover dated December of 1998. This story would feature everybody who had ever been a Titan, and was a big enough hit to launch into a brand new series. Titans features the more iconic team training the next generation of young heroes. It was okay, at least the first year's worth of issues. Lots of getting the band back together, but fell apart after that. Young Justice. First appearance, Young Justice, The Secret, June of 1998. Sort of a Teen Titans for the new millennium, or at least the post-crisis set. It featured Tim Drake, Con-El, and Bart Allen. Eventually, Cassie Sandsmark with a bunch of other non-boy characters too. Also, a de-aged Lobo called Slowbo, until they decided it wasn't Lobo at all. This series was a lot of fun. Enter Dan DiDio. Titans/Young Justice Graduation Day. Pretty bad story, which sees a robot Superman kill Donna Troy. Also Lilith, but nobody cares about her here. The Titans title ends, replaced by The Outsiders, Volume 3, written by Judd Winnick. Young Justice ends, replaced with the book we are about to look at. So we're doing issues 1 through 12. And I could tell that there was definitely some parallels, at least in just the promo poster for what I saw, promo picture for Titan Season 2, which apparently has everybody on the front of it versus Deathstroke. At least that's what it looked like to me. With that being said, that's pretty much kind of what we get in here. So what we'll do tonight, Mark, is we will do, there's 12 issues here. So a big 12-issue arc that we kind of covered. I'm breaking it up. I want to kind of talk about the first 6 issues. I'm not really going to go into a whole lot of depth on that. And then we'll talk about the half issue and the 7th issue, which is, they're kind of standalone. The half issue being our introduction to Rose/Ravager. And then issue 7 was just kind of like a day in the life of. And then 8 through 12, big 5 issues there. So, I guess we'll talk a little bit here real quick about issues 1 through 6. Teen Titans number 1, as described by comicvine.gamespot.com. The Teen Titans are restarted by Cyborg following the death of Donna Troy and Omen. Starfire, Cyborg, and Beast Boy decide to formalize a mentor training aspect for their new Teen Titans. They begin by inviting Robin, Tim Drake, Wonder Girl, Cassie Sandsmark, Superboy, Connor Kent, and Impulse, Bart Allen, to spend weekends at the new Teen Titans headquarters on an island in the San Francisco Bay. Added synopsis. By the end of issue 1, as the team reluctantly come together, there is a mysterious email that is sent to Superboy. In the email, it is revealed that he was created with 50% Superman and 50% human genes. Issues 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Stories Child's Play, A Kid's Game, Breaking the Rules, Clash of the Teen Titans, and War and Peace. When an explosion happens on Alcatraz, the team rush to save those there, and waiting in the shadows is Deathstroke, who ambushes Impulse and shoots him in the knee, telling him kids shouldn't wear costumes. As Impulse is taken to the hospital for hopeful repairs to his knee, Starfire takes the rest of the Teen Titans to a memorial to fallen heroes in Titans Tower. Robin believes that Deathstroke wants to stop the Teen Titans from befalling the same fate as his son Jericho did as a Titan. Starfire tells them they are to remain at Titans Tower no matter how much they want to face Deathstroke. They don't listen. At the hospital, Cyborg and Beast Boy face off with Deathstroke, who reveals to the pair that somehow, in the body of Slade Wilson, is his son and their friend, Jericho. Deathstroke/Jericho is able to defeat Cyborg and Beast Boy, all while trying to explain he wants to stop other kids from dying in the ranks of the Teen Titans. Wonder Girl, Robin, and Superboy are looking for Deathstroke, and Starfire realizes they are gone. Impulse, who healed fairly quickly, is now at a library reading every book, while Wonder Girl is actually approached by Ares and gifted a lasso powered by Zeus. Deathstroke arrives at the library, and a fight ensues, almost putting a bullet in Robin's head until Bart Allen stops the bullet in its place, dismantling Deathstroke's gun and declares his new name as Kid Flash. Jericho finds his opportunity and leaves his father's body to land in Superboy's. Attempts to stop Superboy fail, and Jericho hops again, this time into Kid Flash's body, and then into Starfire's. In the middle of the battle, former team member Raven appears and is able to stop Jericho by absorbing him into her soul self. But soon after, Raven is swarmed by a dozen fiery hands and disappears. Trying to reconcile the day's events, Connor and Cassie find a rooftop and talk. And as their talk turns into a passionate kiss, Connor is yanked by the scruff and tossed in the air. A very upset Wonder Woman tells Cassie to get her things, as it is time for her to go home. We learn that Wonder Woman is upset that Cassie was brought into the Teen Titans, and even more upset to find out she had been talking to Ares. Starfire arrives, and we've got problems between her and Wonder Woman. As the two tussle, the rest of the Teen Titans almost jump into action. However, the arrival of the rest of the Justice League of America gives nearly everyone an opponent. As Wonder Woman and Starfire still fight, Nightwing arrives, and we all settle down. Some feelings are finally laid out as Starfire tells Superman they blame him for Donna Troy's death, as it was one of his machines that killed her. Tempers calm, and the JLA agree to be there, if needed, and leave. Later, Robin lets Superboy know that the hair he tested is definitely that split between Superman and Lex Luthor. Superboy now worries he could turn villain at any moment, but Robin assures him he won't. Later, the mysterious person that emailed them in the first issue was revealed to be, in fact, Lex Luthor.
All right, the first thing that jumped... First of all, I think it's a pretty well-written run, these first 12 issues. We're going to start talking about the first 6, but I thought the whole thing was a pretty good run. I like Geoff Johns stuff. Pretty consistently, I like Geoff Johns stuff. I haven't really found a whole lot to criticize about his... I know that... I mean, he's certainly prolific, so I don't know if he's one of these guys that people tend to hate on. I don't know if he's ever received a Twitter death threat or anything.
Most likely he did at some point.
If he did anything egregious that really upset people. But I mean, from what we've read, we like I said, you just read Blackest Night. We've read some other stuff by Geoff Johns earlier this year. I didn't find a whole... We read Flashpoint, I think, last year or 2 years ago when we reviewed the Flash season 3, where they actually dealt with their version of the Flashpoint storyline. This was a breezy read in that I didn't get bogged down with a lot of crazy storytelling. It was all pretty straightforward, but it was interesting. One of the things I like about Geoff Johns' style is he makes it more about character interaction and relationships than he does about action. There's definitely action happening, and I'm with Beast Boy. Who doesn't want to see Starfire and Wonder Woman wrestling in the mud?
Let them go.
But before we got to that, just my only was how they got together. I wish the Teen Titans were not so obviously an editorial decision to take the sidekicks and throw them into their own team to sell books. Mm-hmm. That's what this screams of. Like, this is my only real complaint about how this starts is it kind of has that Breakfast Club, everyone being dropped off for detention feeling.
Yeah, you could definitely get the sense that some of them are just like, I don't want to be here. Specifically, Superboy. Superboy makes me think that he'd rather not be.
What a douche nozzle he is, by the way.
Yeah. In the story Wednesday, that is where I think just his debaggedness comes through. And I'll talk about that here in a few. But he definitely... I don't know. He rubbed me the way of he made me think that he definitely didn't want to be there.
There is not a person on earth who you would give a dog to unless they were allergic and would react the way that he did.
I know, man.
What an asshole.
He's like, oh, geez, another dog. Not even just a fucking dog. It's a fucking super powered dog, too. Right. I mean, gosh.
Here, I get that you're lonely and feel out of place and you're struggling with your identity. Here's a dog to make you feel better. I don't want it. I don't want it. You want to punch mountains. All right.
Yep.
And I can't even say like, oh, he's like my least favorite character or anything like that, because I kind of enjoyed, like, I get teenagers. I've worked with teenagers. Yes. I'm not going to get into a whole thing, but I understand the moodiness of the teenager.
Yeah, and I think that's what Geoff is trying to get across here, obviously. Yeah. Is that he's a discontent teen. And nothing is going to be good enough. He doesn't, he's Superboy. He doesn't want to have to go to school. What's the point of going to school, man? I understand the character and I understand its Superboy's motivations, but man, you just want to be like, fuck you, kid.
Yeah. So I want to address the Breakfast Club nature of how this story starts, because it's not organic at all. If Victor is the one who thinks the Teen Titans are a valuable asset and thinks it will provide a place for these guys to gel as a team, get comfortable within their own skin, feel like they can have some privacy. They're all like sidekicks to Justice League characters, legacy Justice League characters, sidekicks or clones or whatever. And it's like, okay, here is a place where you can have an identity outside of Batman's sidekick, Superman's clone, Wonder Woman's rib, whatever the fuck she is. That sort of thing. A grandchild from the future.
Yeah.
And I get that, but I wish that the narrative was a little bit more organic and it was a little bit more driven by Cyborg. Like I said, everyone just kind of gets dropped off. Yeah. Like, all right. And they all kind of have this, again, that same reaction to the breakfast of like, why do I have to be here on a Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
And one of them actually says it. Like, why do I have to spend my weekends here? Like, I go to school, I have other stuff to do. I don't know when Tim Drake sleeps.
Yeah, that guy or that kid. I mean, my goodness. Aside from Cassie, Robin seems like the one that his parents have no idea that he's doing this at all.
His dad doesn't know and that was a great element to his character. It's funny, they're actually dealing with this on the fallout of being a superhero and having to lie to the people that you love and how that affects those people, how that in turn affects you. Because the secret identity has always been something to the effect of, you can't tell the people you love what you really are, because then they become a liability. They become a target for those who would find out your identity.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's basically the less people who know what you really are, the less people they can be used against you.
Yeah.
The flip side of that, though, is that you form bonds, you form friendships, you form relationships, and then people feel betrayed when you don't tell them the truth. Not to mention the fact that sudden disappearances for great lengths of time, shifty behavior, makes people grow suspicious and creates an enormous amount of friction. Like, I don't want to get into what's happening on the Supergirl show, but that's basically what happened. But that's the crux of one of the plots that has been going on for the first 5 or 6 episodes between Supergirl and Lena Luthor.
Okay.
Same thing here with Tim, where he had... So you're already like a street vigilante ninja and a high school student. Oh, now you're part of the Teen Titans, and you have to lie to your dad, who he's clearly close with. That was one of the things about Tim Drake's character. Dick Grayson's parents were killed in an accident. Jason Todd was a street rat, and Tim Drake came from a decent family.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember how Tim Drake ends up becoming Robin, but he had a whole family to go to. And he had to keep the secret from his dad for a long time. And so I'm glad they wrap that into the story as well, that Tim, on top of, the enormity of being Robin, is very much a part of his character. The other thing I like about him is, while Dick Grayson had kind of a moral center, he was a strategist, had no powers, but he had the greatest superpower. He had leadership qualities in the Titans. He was able to focus this group of tanks and warriors together and make them a unit, to fight for good. That was Dick Grayson. That's what Dick Grayson brought to the team, because he certainly didn't bring any kind of, power. They do a little bit of that with Tim Drake, but not too much. Starfire and Victor kind of be sharing the mom and dad leadership duties of this team.
Yeah.
But Tim, his usefulness is his brain, which I think is good. It's one of the things I've always talked about with Batman. Your greatest asset is not your ability to throw a batarang or to kick a guy in the face. It's that you're the world's greatest detective.
Yeah.
Please stop punching people. And so they do a lot of that with Tim. He's the one that gets the information about Connor's DNA, and he does provide a bit of leadership when there's conflict within the team about, should they go after Impulse, shouldn't they, that sort of thing. Same thing with, I think, Raven later on. There's sort of a what to do about Raven.
Yeah.
Is she a threat or is she? So all of that's really, really good with Tim Drake. Beast Boy...
Beast Boy's a little horn dog.
Well, I mean, he's a good teenage character. They write him as a goofy teen very, very well. And I guess, with DC always being sort of a morose, very serious, thematic storytelling, it's good to have a guy who's kind of a goofball in the group. Mm-hmm. Like a Blue Beetle or a Booster Gold. Beast Boy is kind of there to sort of crack wise and break the seriousness of the moment.
Okay.
As I said before, the Connor's kind of a douchebag, but he gets softened up by the equally moody, but moody for a different reason, Cassie.
Yep.
And I liked that there was a little romance there, that there was a bit of softening up of Connor via him, getting it all in teenage style with Cassie.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Bart. Don't move past Bart.
I didn't really know anything about Impulse going into this. I just knew that he'll end up becoming the Flash they all murder before the New 52.
The main thing that I got out of the beginning of this is that, is he living with Jay? Is he living with Jay Garrick at the time?
Yes.
I think he is. Okay. So I think it's Barry that shows up. Is it Barry that shows up? Barry's not back.
That's got to be Wally.
Yeah, it's got to be Wally. Bart is, there's kind of a lot of doubt in Bart's motivation and potential. It's like... I shouldn't say that there's doubt in his potential, because they know that he can they believe that he can do better. He's kind of one of those kids that doesn't apply himself all the time.
The whole thing with Bart was he was one way at the start, and then he got shot in the knee, and then he was like, I'm going to read.
Yep.
And then he was a different character.
Yeah, I think he did that obviously to prove something to, his superiors. I'm going to make something of myself. As a matter of fact, that's why he changes his name. He goes from Impulse and now he's Kid Flash, because he's going to be the best damn Flash there is. He's got an interesting arc because he is this kid that apparently is not applying himself, and then he makes a decision. He makes a clear decision that he is going to do that. He has a photographic memory. I at no point, I do not understand why he never decided to use that. And then the Teen Titans are walking into this library and they think, people think there's a ghost in there because these books are floating around a la Ghostbusters. Here it is. It's just, it's Bart reading things really fast and stacking these books as he's done with them. He makes a conscious effort to become a better person. And that, my guess, is really mainly used just to give a different spin on the character and make him a little bit more useful, because there's a couple times where he just shouts out some crazy stuff and you're like, how in the world did you know that, dude? Well, it's because he read it in a book somewhere. So Jericho, I mean, what'd you think of Jericho, the villain in these first 6?
I thought it was an interesting take on the classic Deathstroke. Oh, Deathstroke is back. Hey, you promised you'd leave us alone. But it isn't really Deathstroke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You didn't know much about Jericho prior to this. You obviously could tell there was a history, but you didn't know much anything prior to that. Okay. And that's fine. I'm right there with you. I knew that Jericho was a big figure in the past. I'm sure Sheehan's note's going to cover why, but I just knew that him being back, and obviously that's going to turn some of the Titans on their ear, and they're going to kind of be, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's back. We thought he was dead. Yeah, we got Deathstroke involved, which is funny because me and you did that 1980s run. I think we did the first 6 or 8 issues of that one. It almost tracks like the same beats. We have an interaction with Deathstroke in that series, and we also have the discovery of Raven in that series as well. And we're kind of doing that here, where Raven shows up, and now we're on the trail of Raven.
The first 6 issues was the bit where Wonder Woman shows up, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so is this a running gag with the Teen Titans where they have to constantly fight the Justice League for one reason or another?
That is correct, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got to have our hero versus hero dust up at some point, and that's what this was. Starfire and Wonder Woman are going at it, and then we have the Teen Titans are about to jump into it, but here comes the rest of the JLA, and everybody has to face off with their proteges. It's just something that's bound to happen in a Teen Titans book.
I want to say at the time, whoever's writing Wonder Woman wrote her and I think they even mentioned it in the book that she's preaching peace or whatever, and yet she goes right to pulling Cassie by her ear, let's go, I told you not to come here, and all that. Mm-hmm. And it's you're not her mom. Why do you get a say?
That reminds me, I mean, one of the important things about Cassie in this book is that Wonder Girl is actually every once in a while having a little bit of a conversation with the war god Ares, which that doesn't make Wonder Woman that happy either. Because Ares gives her a lasso powered by Zeus, and Wonder Woman's like, okay, first off, you're not supposed to be here with the Teen Titans. Second off, what the fuck you doing talking to Ares? So yeah, she's a little pissed.
Yeah, I thought they made Wonder Woman a little more irritable, impulsive than I think she had been written in other books at that time.
Okay. I can't say. I don't know if I was reading.
Yeah, I'm not going to claim to be a Wonder Woman expert. I read the volume that incorporated the Hikatea. Gosh, I can't even remember who wrote the damn thing.
Greg Rucka.
Yeah, the Greg Rucka run on Wonder Woman, which was so boring, by the way. It's fucking awful.
Hikatea was okay.
The Hikatea is fine.
Yeah.
The Greg Rucka run on Wonder Woman, separate from that, like I said, that got thrown into that trade.
Okay, got it.
But the actual run on Wonder Woman, where she's an ambassador for the UN, if that's parallel, if that's all happening around the same time, boy, is she acting differently in this Teen Titans book than she does in that one. She's not nearly that hot-headed.
Well, okay, you ready for the half issue and the 7?
Sure, go.
All right, here we go. Teen Titans half issue and issue 7, Wednesday. In the half issue, a young woman by the name of Rose is trying to live a normal life when her foster parents are killed by the Ravager, the half-brother of Deathstroke, who is there to collect a bounty. But before he can secure his prey, the Teen Titans arrive there to save her. During the battle, an arrow full of gas engulfs the room, and when the smoke clears, both Ravager and Rose are gone. Awakening in a darkened basement, Rose is met by her father, Deathstroke, who explains that she is his only family left after he hands her the sword to kill a tied-up Ravager. In issue 7, Wednesday, Wednesday is basically a look at one day in the life of each of the Teen Titans members. Cyborg is trying to track down Raven. Connor, Superboy, now begins to wrestle with who he is, overthinking bad thoughts. Superman comes and finds him at school to give him a gift. Crypto. Unfortunately, Connor is not the most enthused about having a new pet. Kid Flash is on his own adventure, and he stops the Trapster. Robin is in school trying to figure out who he wants to be when he grows up. Cassie is currently being interviewed by the headmaster of a new school, and although things look bad at first, the star archer of the school, Arrowette, gives her a glowing recommendation. Starfire is on her own, and she is dealing with feelings of being left out. Meanwhile, Deathstroke vows vengeance for what has happened to his son, Jericho, and brings his daughter Rose along for the ride. So I don't understand Deathstroke's motivations. I think he's upset about Jericho betraying him, but he's also upset. He swears vengeance on the Teen Titans because they were involved. And yes, Rose is now coming along as Ravager.
Here's what cracks me up about Ravager.
Okay.
In 2019, we live in a world where people thought She-Hulk was a wholly new invention made for woke comic book fans that don't want a male Hulk anymore.
Brilliant.
This is 2003, and we're getting Lady Deathstroke.
Mm-hmm.
Girl Deathstroke, who they created this character, a daughter of Deathstroke, and she, and they gave her a new name. They don't call her Lady Deathstroke or anything. They gave her a new name, but basically she's Girl Deathstroke. Yeah. Down to the fact that later on she will poke herself in the eye.
Yep.
So that's the hilarious thing about that, is that going as far back as 2003 and earlier, comic books have always created gender-swapped versions of legacy characters. This isn't a new thing, and many of them, this is why I find the argument very hilarious, because it's like, 2019, why do we have to have female versions of these legacy characters? Supergirl?
Yep.
Mrs. Marvel?
Yep.
Shazam, girl Shazam, basically.
Yep.
She-Hulk. These are all, this isn't new.
No, it isn't.
Weren't there 2 or 3 different girl Flashes? There's Excess, who's the daughter of the Flash from the future, if I remember correctly. I know they had her on the actual Flash show.
Okay.
There's Jimmy Smits. No, there's Jesse Quick.
Jimmy Smits. Your new Flash, Jimmy Smits.
Cut to Jimmy Smith looking very befuddled and not running.
And not a girl.
Jesse Quick.
Yeah, Jesse Quick. Yep. I think she was part of the Justice Society of America. There's analogs to our superheroes, female analogs to these superheroes all the time. So yeah, don't ask me why people were stupid, because I have no answers for you. Batwoman,
this is not a new character. They didn't create this character for Ruby Rose. This character has been around for decades.
I think people got upset at the biggest thing, and the thing is I haven't read much of it, but it just seems like when Marvel did it with like a ton of characters all at once, and they made a concerted and known effort to tell everybody, hey, guess what? We're woke, and here we go. This is going to be Ironheart. Here's Chinese Hulk. Here's, we're going to...
Korean Hulk, you racist.
We're going to take all these characters and we're going to give you new versions of them. People are just mad because they don't want change. It's just being mad because they don't want change. Now, the thing is...
I guess that's my point, is look at this example. Like, I don't think there was any outrage over Ravager. Well, okay, let me put this out there. Let me posit. We didn't have Twitter in 2003.
That's true.
There may or may not have been outrage. I would imagine pockets of disconnected circles of very few individuals here or there. Maybe some neckbeard got mad that there shouldn't be Deathstroke with a vagina. And maybe 1 or 2 of his friends, if he had any, got mad too. Because the only girls I like in my comics are Power Girl because huge tits. Maybe not even then. Mm-hmm. Who knows? But they didn't have a forum to get their message out to where other people would look at it and go, if I'm seeing it, other people must be seeing it, and therefore we should make a big deal out of this. Yeah. When it really isn't, it's one neckbeard.
Yeah, you don't have the collective hive mind like you did. You had the internet back then, but you do not have Twitter, you do not have Facebook to where you can get your echo chamber going and everybody get together on one rallying topic such as vaginas and comics.
Right.
So,
I think Twitter doesn't become a thing until 2006, 2007. So the whole point of that was to say that, we have I just find it funny because there's so many gender swapped characters that they've created, and you hear arguments like, well, when it's natural, come on, how do you? You're a writer and you're trying to figure out a story. After 100 years of these characters in existence, after a while, you're just like, let's try something new. Let's try Captain America, but this time he's made of lettuce. I mean. You just run out of ideas after a while, and you're willing to try anything. It's like, well, it's not organic.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
I don't have those types of reactions for, like, Ravager. I read it, and when she showed up, I was like, okay, let's go to help her dad out, and whatever. I wasn't that big of.
My only thing was these women have no hips or uterus or spines.
Yeah, we're coming out of the 90s, early 2000s. So
I mean, like the woman, like the way they draw Cassie, and to a certain extent Starfire. I mean, obviously they're very built, but they don't.
Starfire is definitely built.
Yeah, but they don't look that abnormal. Mm-hmm. I looked at the Ravager and I'm like, oh well, clearly she has no bone structure at all.
She doesn't need them, says she could do those swift kicks.
Sure. Yeah. She's made out of fucking muscle and Gumby material.
Silly putty. Yep. Exactly. Other than that,
the characters that fight their analogs in this, I was really waiting for Superman to knock Connor into outer space.
Oh please. Smack him a good one.
I also thought he was going to take him to the Fortress of Solitude, but he was like, nope, here's a hole in the ground in Kansas.
Take a look. Okay. See what was here. All right. Well, our next 5 issues, are going to finish this out, and I'm going to do my best to kind of sum up what happens here.
Lots of luck.
Teen Titans Issues 8, Family Lost, Issue 9, First Blood, and Issues 10 through 12, Raven Rising. Tim Drake is struggling with the fact that he doesn't want to lie to his dad anymore about what he's doing, being Robin. The Teen Titans are battling Mammoth and Gizmo of the Fearsome Five, and they win. Starfire gives the Teen Titans the lowdown on Raven and the backstory of Raven's mom, Angela, being involved with a cult as a wayward soul, and then becoming a host to the demon seed of Trigon. But when Angela runs away, she is taken into Azarath and gives birth to Raven in a land of peace. Growing, Raven faces off with her father, Trigon, alongside of the Teen Titans. But later, she turns evil and is only stopped when her body is vaporized. But now, with her being resurrected in the physical form, it can only be thought of as an omen. Meanwhile, Deathstroke is way ahead of the Teen Titans, finding Brother Blood's church with his daughter, who has now taken the name Ravager. Ravager and Deathstroke lay waste to Brother Blood's church. Back at Titan's Towers, an alert comes through that bad things are going on at the hospital, and they may somehow be tied to Raven's appearance. And when they arrive, that's confirmed. Unconscious patients floating on black auras all awake at the same time, and the aura dives into Beast Boy, causing a massive concussive blast, and he turns into a raven, saying, "The raven belongs to Brother Blood." In issues 10, 11, and 12, Raven Rising, the black aura at the hospital begins to make the Teen Titans express how bad their dads are. They realize they are being influenced by Raven. Back at Titan's Tower, the skeleton of Trigon is attacking Cyborg, Starfire, Superboy, and Crypto. Superboy is able to end the threat of Skeleton Trigon, and the rest of the team arrive to let them know they believe Brother Blood is behind all of this. They decide to follow Beast Boy as he is still a Raven, but Robin tells some of the team it might be best to end the threat of Raven, even though she may be friends with the others. They reach a cave and find a room packed full of followers and Brother Blood. During the battle, Brother Blood bites Superboy, gaining his strength, and then bringing the roof down onto Starfire and Robin, dropping them through the floor. Awakening from their fall, Starfire and Robin are face-to-face with Deathstroke and his daughter Ravager. Deathstroke gets the two to agree that if he lets them live, he will help them and the others get out of Brother Blood's lair, so long as they let him leave with Raven. Starfire surprisingly agrees. Making their way back to Cyborg and the others, Robin finds a book and learns that Brother Blood and his followers are dedicated to bringing back and resurrecting Trigon. Above, Beast Boy finds Raven and helps her try to escape. But unfortunately, Brother Blood finds them, teleporting there and bringing a defeated Cyborg, Kid Flash, Wonder Girl, and Superboy with him. Telling his followers to prepare the ceremony, Brother Blood plans on marrying Raven immediately. However, Robin, Starfire, Ravager, and Deathstroke all show up, helping the heroes get the upper hand. But when Deathstroke goes to get Raven, Starfire blasts him, telling him she lied, and that Raven is going nowhere. Opening her cape against her will, Raven then sucks Beast Boy, Robin, Starfire, Kid Flash, Deathstroke, and Ravager inside it. Now our heroes find themselves in Raven's soul self, but they are not alone. Their former ally and Deathstroke's son, Jericho, is in there as well. Jericho immediately begins hopping into those he makes eye contact with. Still believing that kids shouldn't wear costumes, he picks up the fight with the Teen Titans where he last left it, all the while using them to try and attack his father, Deathstroke. Meanwhile, Cyborg, Wonder Girl, and Superboy lay beaten at Brother Blood's feet as the marriage ceremony with Raven begins. Swallowing the crimson stone that was in her forehead, Brother Blood has her open her soul self within her cape. A flood of demons along with the Teen Titans, Jericho, Deathstroke, and Ravager pour out. While down, Jericho is about to leave Beast Boy's body. Ravager appears and tries to kill him, but hesitates and is interrupted by a huge blast. In order to break Brother Blood's hold over Raven, Beast Boy changes himself into a parasitic worm, hops through Brother Blood's mouth, getting him to vomit the stone. During all of this, Jericho is hopping from body to body, fighting the Teen Titans and his father and his sister. At one moment, though, Cyborg makes eye contact with Jericho, getting him to leap into his body. But Cyborg seems unfazed. Beast Boy gets the gem back to Raven, where she quickly dispatches the demons and Brother Blood, then transports the Teen Titans back to Titan's Tower. Taking some time to recover, the Teen Titans welcome back Raven to the team, and Cyborg explains that Jericho is now 210 megs on a floppy disk, as Cyborg turned him into a set of ones and zeros. Back at their hideout, Deathstroke is telling Ravager that because she hesitated, she is not ready. Ravager vehemently disagrees, and to prove her worth to her father, she stabs her own eye out while yelling, "I'm just like you." What are your thoughts on these 5 issues?
A little confusing. I have to say, when I was talking to Sheen about this, that by the time I got to issue 6, I was like, okay, kind of done now. I don't really want to read any more of this. Kind of need a break.
It was a long series of issues, but I found them easy to read.
Yeah, I feel like when we do these shows and we look at a trade, 5 or 6 is about the limit. Because after that, it starts... Like, it would really have to be, like, a page-turner for me to stay interested. Mm-hmm. You know, I read the first 5, 6, 7 issues before I went to go see Ford versus Ferrari and on Sunday. And then it was like, I finished it later in the evening around 6 o'clock at night. And, you know, like, my kids were bouncing around. My wife's watching TV. It was kind of hard to concentrate. So I remember doing a lot of scan reading, like, Also, you know, the team was split up. There was a lot going on. It was very busy.
Yeah.
I think overall the story was okay. It just got very busy and a little confusing for me. And then by the end, Raven's such an integral part of, if Dick Grayson was sort of the moral compass, the leader, the arrowhead of the team, I thought Raven was always its soul. You know, if nothing else, the Titans existed to give Raven a place of being. Mm-hmm. And so I think to have a Titans without Raven, I think you're missing something. So I was glad that they fashioned a story on her, you know, on her resurrection, around her resurrection. Yeah. Yeah.
I got to say that the villain kind of lackluster. I mean,
Brother Blood.
Yeah, he kind of, you know, his only purpose in this is to bring back Raven and seem like he's somewhat of a threat, which to me, I just never bought him as a threat. I thought the Teen Titans were going to handle him pretty easily. And then, you know, he gets beat. So we didn't have really the impact of like a big villain here. But, you know, you got with the whole storied library of DC villains, I guess this is probably the best one that may be fit for the story to try and bring back Raven. And granted, I don't know much of anything about the the villain himself. I've never seen him in anything. I don't know anything of him. According to what they were saying here, it was like he was resurrected as a kid now. So he was young. I remember him saying, he was like, I'm 14, or next week I'll be 14 or something like that. So he's like a younger. Yeah, I'm looking at the Sebastian Blood 9 is apparently the picture here, and he is the second Brother Blood. But just like you said, this story, the main vehicle of this story is just bringing Raven back, getting her to be back as part of the team. And of course we have the resolution of Jericho, which, Jericho he was a pretty big threat, hopping back and forth. Although I don't know much about Jericho and his past with the Teen Titans, but clearly there was quite a bit of past. But I didn't understand why he's a villain and why he wants to stop them from wearing costumes. Why does he hate them so much that he's willing to try and kill them in order to stop them from? That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Hey, I don't want you guys to get hurt anymore. I need to make you guys an example by hurting you. Okay. All right. Makes a whole lot of sense. Resolving Jericho was pretty goofy by having Cyborg just look him in the eye. That's how he transferred himself. But he would look people in the eye and then he'd dive into their heads. So Cyborg's like, here you go. Come get me. And he does that. And then Cyborg's like, oh, too bad. I'm going to write a CD with your name on it. That was funny. Somebody criticized the book by saying, a floppy disk that only holds like 4 megs. So it was 210 megs. There you go, Mark. There's some people that really have some intelligent bitching. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Ravager poking her eye out.
You poke your eye out, kid.
You're going to poke your eye out. Put the knife down. I thought she was going to kill herself. I was like, oh shit, she's going to kill herself in front of her dad. And she shoves the knife, and I thought she shoved the knife straight up into her head. I'm like, oh, damn, dude. But no, she ends up taking her own eye. I'm just like you. What's your final thoughts? Give us your final thoughts on Teen Titans 1 through 12.
As I said before, I think Geoff Johns is a good writer. I think the thing that makes this work, as I said earlier, are the relationships between the characters. The action stuff is kind of meh, but I think what kept me interested, especially in the first 7 issues, was the interactions between the characters and their interactions with the outside world. I think, watching superheroes foil bank robberies to a degree can be fun. But what really keeps you going, what really gets you invested in these characters, in my opinion, and I think Geoff Johns does a really good job of this, asking the question, what is it like to be person X at Y age in C surrounding? How does that person interact with the world? How does the world interact with them? What kind of feelings do these produce? This is the fleshing out of dramatic characters that makes readings or watching movies, television, books, comics interesting. Because you don't just want gonzo action porn. You want a richer dramatic experience, and you're not going to get that unless you have fleshed out characters who are going through something you can relate to. And I think I think there's a character in the Teen Titans that every one of us can relate to on some level. The idea of feeling displaced, not knowing what kind of, who you belong to as a family, feeling like an outsider, having to keep secrets from your family because of shame or whatever the other reasons are. Being a dope, just being a horny dope.
Yep.
That sort of thing. The burden of leadership, just kind of being handed the reins of something and not knowing what quite to do with it. That sort of thing. Being the child bride of a demon. I think that's something we can all relate to.
I was really thinking about that last night and how that applies to my life.
Sure. But you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do. I had a good time. Geoff Johns, good writer. And I was able to get through the 12 issues really quickly. It's funny because I think a lot of what I base things on anymore are how fast I can get through them. Here's the real test of it, though. If you can tell a good story and I can read it in a decent amount of time, you've done a great job, in my opinion. All right, Mark Radulich, we've said our piece. Let's get into plugs, buddy.
Tomorrow we'll be doing a Damn You Hollywood for Knives Out.
Ouch.
You know what that is? It's Whodunit.
Oh.
It's a Whodunit by Rian Johnson, the genius who brought you The Last Jedi. Jesse gets an early Christmas present this week because we'll be reviewing Rings of Saturn on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Get them while they're hot.
Get them.
Speaking of which, myself and Alexis Haina will be reviewing the new Lady and the Tramp live action from Disney+.
Oh, my.
Same day as Rings of Saturn. Get them.
Get them.
This Thursday, you and I will be reviewing Titan Season 2.
Yay! That looks like it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Friday, not a whole lot going on. Saturday, we've got UFC Fight Night Overeem versus Rosenstruck. So myself and Robert Winfrey will be doing some coverage of that. Next week, we've got Gotham Central Book 2, The Crown Season 3, Life of Agony, The Sound of Scars, or some shit. The Sound of Scars. And then myself and Sean Coleman will be doing Long Road to Ruin for the Santa Claus trilogy.
Oh,
is also on Disney+.
Long Road to Ruin's coming back for an extra special Christmas episode?
That is correct.
Oh, that's spectacular.
And then on the 14th of December, we'll be doing UFC 245 Usman versus Covington. Now, I know you're a big sissy fanny boy.
Yeah, there you
go. Who doesn't like the violence. But you should check out Usman versus Covington, because Covington will be more than likely wearing a MAGA hat to the ring. All right, that's it. I'm done talking.
Man, oh man, the sleepies are coming. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, go give the Rattlich in Broadcasting Network Facebook page a like. The old can plugs will be in here at the end. Listen, did a neat little podcast over the weekend, and I was going to keep it on the Patreon, but I decided to screw it. I put it out there for the world to enjoy.
And they are. You're burning up the charts.
Yeah, burning up the charts with. Let's not talk about real numbers here. The Wiki Rabbit Hole made its debut. See, here's the thing. It can get 12 downloads pretty easily, so long as it's can be listened to twice by myself. And, here's the thing. It's really compact. It's a little bit over 11 minutes long, I believe. And what I did concept was real easy. Mark reminded me, we actually did this one time. I don't know if it was on this show or if it was on Metal Hammer.
It was the L7 show.
That's right. Metal Hammer of Doom. So what I do is I take a topic and usually relate it to a show, which we were doing Garth Ennis's The Boys. Took Garth Ennis and did a wiki rabbit hole. Mark, the first one was just any links, okay? And I want to read to you this trail of links here real quick. This is how it went. This was the one that did not air, all right? So I went from Garth Ennis to Judge Dredd. Let's try that again. Judge Dredd to Chief Judge. All right, that was a link to acclamation, the word acclamation, which learned a little bit about that. Then that took me to apostolic constitution. We got into we started talking about the Pope. And then that took me to the Constitution of the United States of America and other countries. And then there was a link in there for states of emergency. Okay. So I was like, oh, let's click on that. And there was actually listings of recent state of emergencies within certain countries. One of which happened to be in your area there in Florida, around your area, the Orlando nightclub shooting. I don't know if you recall that happening. We read a little bit about that, and then we found out that the shooter was upset about Islamic extremist by the name of Abu Wahib. So we went from Garth Ennis all the way to Abu Wahib somehow, because I decided not to do just strictly comic book related topics. So then I recorded again. All right. And I went 15 minutes, made it nice and quick. Went from Garth Ennis and went to Howard the Duck with about 9 other topics in between, and fit it all in within a nice little 10-minute, 11-minute conversation. So if you guys are interested in the old wiki rabbit hole, you're more than welcome to check that out. Again, that's something I'm just kind of, a little extra content here and there everywhere. I think that's about it. That's the only other thing I want to plug, unless you guys want to check out the Unspoken Issues number 7 that we did on Supreme number 42. Ready to get out of here. Mark's about to fall asleep. I'm Jesse. That's Mark. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Thank you all for joining us. Make sure to give that Radulich in Broadcasting Facebook page a like to stay up on top of all the great podcasts we have to offer. We are at home on Spreaker, but you can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and recently we have hit the air on Spotify. Find your favorite podcast platform and type in RADULICH to subscribe for some great content. If you enjoyed this show, please feel free to share and spread the word. And as always, we appreciate any feedback and look forward to entertaining you again soon.
You can see my in-laws' Christmas tree from Mars.
No, boy.
Not one of my brighter moments. You seem like you want to move this along, so I'm gonna shut up.
Oh, he's shutting up over there. Oh man, I guess transport his essence or his spirit, or yeah, it's all sounding very sexual. And I don't want it to. It's here, hops there, hops everywhere. Sam I am, green eggs and ham. She shows up, opens up her cowl, her cape, and swallows Jericho. Jericho's essence.
Wonder Woman.
Don't you start singing when I start singing.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. Like butter.
Should I open up my cloak and take the essence of AIN?
Go back and listen in the archives. Follow that bird, Mark. I'd rather watch that.
You're a silly man.
Nothing compares. Okay.
Right.
To you.
Can you squeal like Sinead O'Connor?
Is that a Family Guy reference?
Can you squeal like a cat? Can you squeal like an armadillo? I don't. Excuse me. I think it was one of those like earlier.
CPAP's a calling. Read to me, baby. Read to me. So.
I want to read like you.
Gaiman, Guyman, Showman.
Chinese chicken.
Chinese chicken. When it comes to fucking the boys, not fucking the boys, but when it comes to the boys, when it comes to the boys,
damn it! Stop.
Get him.
Damn sensitive mouse calendar. Mugwai. You'll be wearing a Mugwai to the ring.
Oh, Gremlins. In promotion of Gremlins 3.
At Metro, the best deal in wireless is on. Switch to Metro and get one full Amazon Prime membership included every month. Plus, get 2 free phones from top brands like Samsung and LG with huge HD screens. All with 2 lines for just $90. That's the best deal in wireless, only at Metro. Plus sales tax and activation fee. Requires port-in of eligible number not currently active on T-Mobile network or active on Metro in past 90 days. Limit 4 per account or household. Offer subject to change. Offer valid for new Amazon Prime members. Amazon Prime has a $12.99 per month value. Restrictions apply. See store for details and terms and conditions. Buckle up, because Metro is bringing you the best deal in wireless. Switch to Metro and get your choice of 2 awesome free phones from top brands like Samsung and LG with huge HD screens and tons of memory for all your pics and videos. So hurry into Metro and get your awesome free phones only at Metro. Plus sales tax and activation fee. Requires port-in of eligible number not currently active on T-Mobile network or active on Metro in past 90 days. Limit 4 per account or household. Restrictions apply. See store for details and terms and conditions.